Howdy folks, I'm Daring Dandelion, delightfully dodging dizzy dancing dragonflies.
I'm Amber.
And here are more dragonflies for us to dodge, although that's pretty impressive that we're a dandelion and we're capable of doing that. So let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for joking that my dad gets a perpetual period in front of friends and family? I'm a 19-year-old female, and I was at a family dinner with my dad, my younger sister, my older sister who was visiting, and one of my dad's friends, along with his wife and son. At one point, my dad started joking with his friend about how lucky he was to have a son, because living with women is apparently so difficult. Even though both me and my older sister already moved out for college/work and are barely home now. He starts making comments about how women get moody and miserable on their periods and how the whole house atmosphere changes. He said it in a joking tone, not screaming or anything like that. But he says this kind of stuff pretty often. His friend then said that he thanks the Lord every day for that. So I replied in basically the same joking tone that honestly, if he had a son exactly like him, it would probably be worse because he's moody and irritable all the time. So it's like he's permanently on his period. His friend laughed immediately and his wife laughed too. And then the wife joked, "Oh, don't you laugh, you're like that too." I also pointed out that I honestly don't even think what he said was true. I do sports while on my period. My sisters are both pretty chill too. And most of the time, when there was tension at the home, it was usually him starting arguments and then blaming it on women hormones if we reacted badly. Well, anyways, after dinner, my dad told me that I embarrassed him and insulted him in front of his friend. He said that it was rude and disrespectful to compare a man to having a period. He also said that his friend group takes pride in being masculine and manly, and I made him look weak. I honestly thought that we were all joking around equally, and if he can make jokes about women being impossible because of periods, then I don't see why I can't joke back about him acting moody too. Alright folks, what do you think?
I mean, if he's feeling so sensitive about these jokes, maybe it's that time of the month for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is being sexist is really what this boils down to. It's alright for him to insult OP and comment on OP's gender, but it's not all right for OP to do the same thing. It's a horrible double standard.
It is, and it sounds like he does this repeatedly. He's always making jokes at OP and sister and mom's expense. Mm-hmm. And that's despicable. And then when OP makes a joke where he's the butt of the joke, he all of a sudden gets sulky and throws a fit. Dude, take a cue from your daughter.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel bad for OP here because it's clear that he is so self-absorbed and so he can't even he takes himself so seriously and is so invested in this idea of being masculine that he can't even laugh at himself, right?
Well, and his idea of masculinity requires him to denigrate women and femininity. And that's not a healthy idea of masculinity. You can be proud to be a man without putting women down and acting like they're a problem and so hard to live with.
Yeah.
You don't have to play into sexist tropes. You can just be proud of being a man.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of male characteristics that I think that people would view as good things to have, like being a protector type of individual. Being protective is good. Being hardworking or being strong is good. As long as you're not using that strength to oppress others and instead using it to help lift up people, right?
Well, and he's not being protective here either. He's tearing the women in his life down.
So I think, again, some of the things that he's doing here are extremely, in bad taste, right? And it shows that how fragile his ego is, that if he can't even joke about himself, being moody or irritable, or even see that, maybe some of this moody irritableness isn't on the women's part, but on his part, then, I don't know. I think that maybe this is hopefully the wake-up call that he needs, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for asking my homeschooled nephew about where he was in the curriculum? Hi, I wanted to ask here because this is something that's important to me. My sister and I have a good relationship, so I want to know if I was in the wrong. My nephew is in 6th grade, and at least since the beginning of his current school year, he's been homeschooled by my sister. She felt that they didn't really teach much in school, so she decided to have him homeschooled. My niece, his older sister, is attending high school. Yesterday, I was at her place, and I was talking to my nephew about where his homeschool classes are going, and he said that they were going well. I asked what the last thing he did in math was, being a math tutor myself and being interested in that, and he was having trouble recalling what they covered, naming the concept, or giving me example questions. My sister then stepped in and told me that what they had covered. I named some topics which were introduced in 6th grade, and since it's close to the end of the year, asked if he had learned them. She said that they were doing it at our pace. I dropped it, but admittedly was a bit surprised because until a few years back, it seemed like he was ahead of school. Really quick with answering mental math questions, which I used to ask at my sister's encouragement. I know mental math is totally a different skill set and doesn't necessarily mean that the Head Start carries over to other topics, but it still surprises me. Today in the morning, I was talking to my mom, and she told me that my sister thought that I was being kind of a jerk, that I'm not a parent. What do I know about juggling home chores with raising a kid and teaching? And that my nephew is shy and that it doesn't help that I quiz him like this. I tried explaining it, but just ended up agreeing with my mom that my sister would know best. He's her son, and that I shouldn't have done what I did. Was I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're in the wrong, OP, and I think it's actually important to pay attention. I get that it's difficult to balance teaching with raising kids and doing home chores, but maybe that's a sign that the son should go back to public school if the sister can't juggle everything and he's falling behind in his studies.
Well, that's it. It's like she made the commitment to his education and she needs to honor that commitment. If she can't honor that commitment, then she doesn't need to be teaching him. Plain and simple. If you are incapable of juggling the commitment of your house and your other chores and your other responsibilities as well as homeschooling, then you're doing your child a huge disservice by continuing to do that. Now, I understand that not everyone thinks that the public education system is the best, but the public education system is better than no education if you're not homeschooling your kid well, right?
Right. Like if you're not getting through all the course curriculum that you would in a year in a public school, like that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. So I think that she's being a jerk and she's hamstringing her child and their future, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking Photos Every Time I Do the Dishes and Showing My Husband When He Said That I Don't Do Them? So for some reason, my husband is under the impression that I either never do dishes or only put a few dishes in there when I do, when it's actually him who doesn't ever do them and only puts a few dishes in there. We end up arguing about other chores as well and who did more, but that's not even as big of a thing as the dishes. Eventually, I got tired of the accusations and him insisting on something that wasn't true, or him trying to say that he was the only one doing them correctly. So I started taking pictures of the dishwasher after loading it. I also took a picture of a couple times when he loaded it and shared it with my friend and kind of ranted to her about how he only washed a couple of things again, and I bet he's going to blame me for it. Well, last night he kept talking kind of mad about how I haven't done the dishes in a week, when there's only been one day all week that I didn't because I was helping family out. He kept going on about it, so I took my phone out and I showed him pictures and dates of all the times that I did them, and then following up, showing him the photos of when he did them to prove that I'm the one both normally doing them and the one who's doing them properly when I do them, instead of just putting a few in and calling it a day. He didn't take it well. He called me disrespectful and told me that it was weird and crazy to go and document the dishes just to rub them in his face later. Me and my mom were talking and I told her that we got into an argument and why. She also thought that it was a bit much for me to document it like that, but if I didn't, I would keep getting told that I'm never doing them and I don't do them right when I do. So I felt like I was justified. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. It sounds to me like your partner is trying to gaslight you into believing you never do the dishes, so you'll do the dishes all the time and he doesn't have to do chores anymore. But regardless of his motive, he was saying something that was patently untrue. You showed him evidence. There's nothing wrong with that.
How is it disrespectful to show evidence to the contrary of his statements? And the only way that is true is if he has the absolute authority over what the truth is.
Exactly. How dare OP question his authority and his knowledge of events?
So I don't think that OP did anything wrong here. I think documenting them was the only way to prove that he is a liar. And whether he's doing the lying intentionally or not is, regardless of the situation, right? He needed to be called out because he isn't telling the truth, and OP is the one doing the dishes, and OP brought receipts.
Well, and I think his reaction here is very telling. Like, if he was just misguided, that could have been a moment for him to step back and pause and be like, oh, wow, I never realized it. I'm so sorry for pinning on this on you. I need to go reflect on my behavior.
Yeah.
But instead, he is like, how dare you do this to me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely getting the vibe that he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's furious that OP is calling him out.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's hard to not understand that you're doing the dishes or not doing the dishes.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think it may be time to reevaluate this relationship because it does not seem healthy. The arguments in the first place, but then him doubling down and being like, you're the problem still.
Maybe marriage counseling could save things, but I also don't know.
I mean, if he's willing to like manipulate OP, like I don't know if this is intentional or not, but if he's intentionally trying to manipulate things, it may just be best to end the relationship.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Hiring Professional Cleaners to Prove My Mom Was a Spite Cleaner? And Amber wants to read this one.
This is from a few years ago, but it's come up in arguments lately, so I figured I'd get some outside opinions. My mom is what you might call a spite cleaner. She uses cleaning as a tool to control and nag and whine and whatnot. My siblings and I bore the brunt of it. Often she delegated cleaning to Saturday or Sunday, which we called Hell Day. She would usually go out to buy food for the week / run errands and would leave us to it. It seemed no matter how much cleaning we did, she was never happy with the result, and the day would end with all of us arguing and upset. Sometimes we would barely do any cleaning since the end result was the same, her complaining. Venting to each other outside the house one day, my siblings and I decided to prove that she was just complaining for the sake of complaining. We set up a GoFundMe to raise funds to pay a local house cleaning company, posting it as something along the lines of, help us get a professional house cleaning to surprise our mom. And we were able to raise a few $100s, mostly from family and friends who knew our situation, which covered the cost and a nice big tip for the cleaners from what was left. So for one cleaning weekend, when our mom had shopping plus getting the car looked at, we scheduled the local cleaners to arrive. They were two very nice women who proceeded to clean the house till it was sparkling. We chatted a bit with them while they were working. One of the ladies had almost 20 years of experience cleaning homes, the other 8. With their consent, we filmed some clips of them cleaning, saying it was to surprise our mom. So mom gets home with our uncle who was coming to dinner, and she's barely in the door. She's already started complaining about our usual subpar cleaning, that either I or my brother didn't clean the surfaces well enough, or that my sister didn't sweep one spot. These were repetitive complaints she often said. Long story short, we show her the footage. Her face gets red and she proceeds to scream at us for embarrassing her in front of her brother. How dare we hire cleaners and have strangers in the house? Blah, blah, blah. We argue back that this just proves she weaponizes cleaning. It's been a few years since then. After the big blow up, she just did most of the cleaning herself. She never admitted to weaponizing it. It came up again recently as us tricking her, and I don't think we did anything wrong. Am I the jerk? All right, what do we think?
I don't think that OP is in the wrong here, right? I mean, they hired professional cleaners and they showed that the house was spotless and the mom was just finding reasons to complain, right? And I think that's really what it boils down to. This is another situation where she wanted to control the narrative, and this is about control more than anything, right? Her idea is to, punch down at their kids in order to make them feel like they're ungrateful or they're not pulling their weight, when in reality, it's the mom who has the problem here. So I don't think that OP did anything wrong. They didn't trick her. They hired people to professionally clean the house, and the mom tricked herself by basically, revealing her true intentions.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, if she had looked at the house and been like, oh, wow, you did an amazing job cleaning, then it would have been on the kids that they were probably lacking. But the fact that immediately she goes into nitpicking and tearing everything apart, you know what her intentions were. Oh, you tricked me. No, you are an ill-intentioned person who revealed your true self.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Falling Asleep with My Phone Unlocked Around My Cat. Last night, around 1 a.m., I accidentally fell asleep on my couch with my phone unlocked. Cue to my cat seeing it and playing with it. She somehow opened my contacts to the top of the alphabetical list that I'm assuming, and then ended up texting a girl I went to high school with who I haven't spoken to in 3 years. It was 4 voice meows, all of me breathing, one of which was 2 minutes long. She also managed to send a couple of random screenshots of emails that I had in my camera roll. I woke up 4 hours later, noticed my phone wasn't plugged in and was on, and now I'm mortified. She hasn't responded yet, and that may not be her number anymore, but I feel like it's so much worse if it's a stranger's number now. Weirdly, my cat didn't do much of anything else other than typing out a text to my mom of gibberish and not sending it. I quickly apologized to the girl and explained that it was my cat playing with my phone while I slept. I really hope she didn't see it, as she doesn't have read receipts on, and I can't tell. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, that's a cute story, and hopefully anyone would understand. I mean, cats do things sometimes. Your mom's cat called you the other day.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's cat did call me the other day, and it just happens to be that cats, play with phones, and sometimes they dial for you, right? And I don't think that OP has anything to be embarrassed about. Like, sometimes I actually had an incident where my phone got unlocked in my pocket and, made a bunch of messages to random people on Instagram. And that was not my intention. Oh, and what was more awkward is like some of them was like a bunch of hearts or something like that. And it was like, oh yeah, no, this was not intended at all. This was a complete accident. I'm very sorry about this, right? And so I think like this is, yeah, it was clear that it was gibberish because it wasn't just like hearts. It was like gibberish, weird letters and stuff like that mixed in with, hearts and other emojis and stuff like that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is like, it might be embarrassing in the moment, but most people are going to be understanding that this is like a complete accident and that this wasn't intentional, right?
And it's a fun story that you can keep teasing your cat about forever.
Mm-hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
How does a train eat?
Very carefully. It eats with its grill. I imagine that's horrifying. It probably just opens up its grill and then chomps down on whatever is on the railroad tracks for it. It's kind of like an ant's mandibles.
It goes chew, chew.
It does. It does. In a horrifying, spectacular way. I don't know what word I'm looking for there. And I have Earl Grey.
And today is a very special day. It is sample lipstick day. So yes, my desk also doubles as my makeup vanity. So like half my desk, well, a third of my desk is like makeup stuff. And so this is a little sample lipstick that I got from Urban Decay. The shade is called Callback, and it's the lipstick I'm wearing right now. So
it's a nice lipstick.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice on our guidance, and please have it on controlling the narrative.
Don't intentionally manipulate the narrative, and if you think that someone's manipulating, gathering evidence is totally fine.
But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.